This conference will now be recorded.
Shall I start the class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And today topic dorsal thalamus and epithalamus. And today topic dorsal thalamus and epithalamus. So first you see the thalamus. So in this picture, we can see the thalamus. So this area, this is the cross section of the brain. So whatever you see blinking part, this is the thalamus. So this is part of diencephalon. This is also called dorsal thalamus. And this is relay station for all sensory modalities except to olfactory fibers. This is the important point. So thalamus, this is the relay station for all sensory modalities except olfactory fibers. And the shape is ovoid. And these are the measurements of the thalamus. So in this picture also, you can see the thalamus, this yellow one. Above the brainstem, you can see the brainstem. Above the brainstem, this is the thalamus. You can see the shape of the thalamus here, ovoid mass. Then why should you learn the thalamus and what are the lesions and importance of the thalamus? The most uncommon syndrome related to the thalamus, that is the thalamic syndrome. In that syndrome, number of clinical conditions are there, but we see the important one. Whatever you see this picture, this one is called thalamic phantom limb. And this condition, second picture, person is walking. This is the hemiplegia. And third picture, lower one, this is the thalamic hand. So these are the some clinical signs of the thalamic syndrome. So what are these signs? How these are formed? What are the conditions? All these things you learn at the end of the class. First we learn the anatomy of the class. So in this picture we can see the epithalamus. Okay. So first we see the anatomy of the thalamus. That means parts of the thalamus. Parts of the thalamus. And in this picture you see right and left two thalami, both are connected by the interthalamic adhesion. So you can imagine thalamus as a cube. That means you can expect the 6 surfaces. That means the 6 parts. So first one, anterior end. This is called anterior tubercle. Second one, posterior end. This one, this is called pulvinar. Superior surface, inferior surface, lateral surface, and medial surface. So these are the parts of the thalamus, 2 ends, 4 surfaces. So in this picture, we can see the 2 ends of the thalamus. Okay. So you identify the thalamus here. This is the thalamus, whatever you see, this part, ovoid mass, thalamus. And this arrow is showing the anterior end of the thalamus. This is called tubercle. And this arrow is showing the posterior end of the thalamus, and this one is called pulvinar. So posterior end of the thalamus, pulvinar, and anterior end of the thalamus, that is the tubercle. So in this picture, we can see the pulvinar, that is the posterior end. So this arrow is showing the posterior end or pulvinar. You see here. So this part of the thalamus is called pulvinar. It overhangs on the whatever you see here, geniculate bodies, superior geniculate bodies. Now this is the coronal section through the two thalami. So in this picture we can see here, and above corpus callosum, and here you see the two thalami, right and left. Usually in between them here we can find third ventricle, that is the cavity of the diencephalon. Above the thalami you see here fornix with the septum pellucidum. And lateral aspect of the superior surface of thalamus, here we can see the lateral ventricle. That means, and this is the thalamus and the coronal section. This is related to two ventricles of the brain. One is the third ventricle medially, and superiorly central part of lateral ventricle. Okay. And in this picture, we can see the four surfaces of the thalamus. So this one is the superior surface of the thalamus. This is the medial surface of the thalamus. And below, this is the inferior surface of the thalamus. And this is the lateral surface of the thalamus. So if you see, superior surface is related to the lateral ventricle. Medial surface is related to third ventricle. And inferior surface, it rests on the hypothalamus and the subthalamus and the midbrain. It rests on the subthalamus and midbrain. And whatever you see, this is the lateral surface related to the cerebral cortex. So in this picture, we can see the four surfaces of the thalamus. Now we come to the relations of the thalamus. This is the section, cross section through the base of the brain. So in this cross section, we can see here thalamus. Whatever you see here, this is the thalamus, this entire one. So laterally, this thalamus is related to the internal capsule. So this is the V-shaped white matter of the cerebral hemisphere. This one is called internal capsule. This is usually present in between thalamus and lentiform nucleus. Thalamus and lentiform nucleus. So laterally, thalamus is related to the internal capsule. And same picture in previous picture. So this is the thalamus, this is the superior surface, medial surface, lateral surface, and inferior surface. Now we see the relations of the four surfaces of the thalamus. Superior surface divides into two parts. And which part is related to the lateral ventricle? That is the ventricular part. And the remaining part is called non-ventricular part. So ventricular part of the superior surface related to central or body of the lateral ventricle. And non-ventricular part of the thalamus is related to choroid plexus or choroid fissure of the third and lateral ventricle, and also fornix. And medial surface is related to lateral ventricle, third ventricle. That means this forms the lateral boundary of third ventricle, medial surface. And inferior surface, already I told you, it rests on the hypothalamus and midbrain. And lateral surface is related to internal capsule. So you can say simply four surfaces relations: superior surface, lateral ventricle, choroid plexus; medial surface, third ventricle; inferior surface related to midbrain and hypothalamus, and lateral surface internal capsule. These are the relations of the thalamus. And whatever you see, this is the thalamus, blue color area. And here in center, we can see there is a cross section of the fibers. And these fibers usually connecting the two thalami. That's why this one is called interthalamic adhesion. Whatever you see cut section, that is interthalamic adhesion. Below that yellow color dotted line, that indicates the hypothalamic sulcus, which separates the thalamus from the hypothalamus. This is the thalamus, and lower part is the hypothalamus. Now we come to the nuclei. Nuclei of the thalamus, usually specific and non-specific. There are two nuclei of the thalamus, specific and non-specific. So in this picture, we can see the nuclei of the thalamus. Usually, if you see this picture, in the middle, you can see the Y-shaped white matter of the thalamus, interthalamic lamina. This one is called intrathalamic lamina. This is the Y-shaped white matter, which divides the usually thalamus into three parts: anterior, medial, and lateral. So this one is the light color anterior part, this one, and this yellow one is the medial part, and the remaining part is the lateral part. So intrathalamic lamina, white matter, which divides the thalamus into three parts. So these three parts again subdivided into number of nuclei. So in this slide we can see what are the nuclei of the thalamus. So usually thalamic nuclei are arranged in three groups: anterior, medial, this is the anterior, this one is the medial, and lateral. This remaining part is the lateral. You see the color combination also, same colors I use it here. So anterior, medial, and lateral groups. And this lateral group is made up of the number of nuclei, and these are divided into two types: ventral and dorsal. Under the ventral, we can see the subnuclei: ventral anterior VA, ventral lateral intermediate VL, ventral posteromedial, ventral posterolateral. So these are the nuclei. Okay. So this one is the ventral anterior. This is a ventral intermediate, and here ventral posterior medial, ventral posterior lateral, together this part. So 1, 2, 3. These are the ventral nuclei of the thalamus. And the dorsal part of the dorsal nuclei of the lateral group. So lateral dorsal, lateral posterior, pulvinar, and two geniculate bodies. Here you see lateral dorsal, lateral posterior, and pulvinar. This entire one is the pulvinar. So below the pulvinar, we can see the ovoid masses, gray subcortical areas. Those are medial geniculate body and lateral geniculate body. So these are the nuclei of the thalamus. So you see here arrangement of the nuclei, mainly three groups: anterior, medial, and lateral. So anterior, medial, and lateral. These three groups are divided by this Y-shaped interthalamic matter, or interthalamic medullary part. This is the white matter. And the lateral group made up of the number of nuclei divides into ventral and dorsal. Okay. We have seen the number of nuclei: ventral anterior, lateral, ventral posterior medial, ventral posterior lateral. Dorsal divides into lateral dorsal and left posterior, pulvinar, and medial and lateral geniculate bodies. And next we come to the other nuclei. Other nuclei present in the this interlaminar nuclei. These are called in the white matter. These are the other nuclei. And next we come to the connections of the nuclei. So this thalamus is connected with the cortical areas of the cerebrum. Okay. So in reciprocal connections, that means it gives fibers to cerebrum and receives the fibers from the cerebrum. So reciprocal connections with the cortex of the cerebrum, that is the one type of connection. Then another type of connections, interthalamic connections in between the nuclei of the thalamus. So there are two types of the connections. And now we come to the one by one. Before we go to the connections of the thalamus, okay, once you see the nuclei of the thalamus, because these nuclei, they receive, that means they have input and output fibers with the other parts of the brain. Already I told you this thalamus is the relay station for the all sensory modalities of the body except the olfactory. So this is the head ganglion of the sensory fibers, relay station for the sensory fibers. This is the thalamus, part of the diencephalon. Okay, usually mainly it is connected with the cortical areas of the cerebrum and also interthalamic connections. Those also we have seen. So in this picture, we can see the nuclei. Already I told you. This is the anterior nucleus. This one is the medial nucleus, and these are the lateral nuclei. Lateral nuclei divides into ventral and dorsal. So you see the connections of the nuclei one by one. What are the fibers are passing through the nuclei or relay within the nuclei of the thalamus and connecting the which areas, and what are the functions of the nuclei. So here earlier I mentioned the number of thalamic nuclei, but I'm going to explain only about the few nuclei, only important nuclei. Those only I explain. For rest of the nuclei connection, if you want, go through your theory book. First nucleus, very important nucleus, that is the anterior nucleus. So in this picture we can see, in this picture we can see this yellow color arrow is showing the mammillary body, which one is present at the floor of the third ventricle. This is the mammillary body. And in this picture, another yellow color line showing another picture. In this picture, whatever you see, this is the hippocampal formation. This is the hippocampal formation, and it gives rise to projection fibers. These are called fornix. So hippocampal formation with the fornix, this picture. And we come to the anterior nucleus in the thalamus. You see in this picture, this yellow color arrow is showing the anterior nucleus. So it receives the fibers. It receives the fibers from the mammillary body, habenular mammillary body, and also hippocampal formation. So here in this arrow, we can see the mammillary body, another fibers from the hippocampal formation. So this one, which receives the fibers from the hippocampal formation and mammillary body, which one? Anterior nucleus. Then, and these fibers, in another hand, is connected with the cingulate gyrus, which is present on the medial surface of the cerebrum. Whatever you see above the corpus callosum, this is the corpus callosum. Whatever you see above the corpus callosum, this is the cingulate gyrus. This one is the cingulate gyrus. And the function of this nucleus is the recent memory. So this is the main center for the permanent long memory. This is the main center for the permanent and long memory. That means if you see all these parts, These are interconnected with the fibers to form the one circuit, and that popular circuit is called Papage circuit. Papage circuit. So this one is the short notes question from the thalamus. Papage circuit, very important. So if you see the Papage circuit in this picture, you see here, whatever you see yellow color line, yellow color area, these all are the parts of the Papage circuit. That means thalamus, mammillary body, and also hippocampal formation, cingulate gyrus, parahippocampal formation. These all parts are interconnected to form the one circuit. That circuit is called Papage circuit. The main function of the Papage circuit is it is concerned with the permanent long memory. This is the permanent and long memory. This is called Papage circuit. So if you regarding the thalamus, so anterior nucleus of the thalamus, which is receiving the fibers from the mammillary and hippocampal formation, and it gives efferent fibers to the cingulate gyrus of the medial frontal lobe. Okay, and to form the circuit, this is the Papage circuit and concerned with the permanent long-term memory. So this one is called Papage circuit, and short notes question, very important. Now we come to the another connection of the thalamus, another nuclear connections. Then whatever here yellow color arrow is showing that nucleus, yellow color nucleus, that is the dorsomedial nucleus or medial nuclei. Okay, it receives the fibers from the hypothalamus and amygdaloid nucleus. So here, whatever you see, that is the amygdaloid nucleus that is present at the tail part of the caudate nucleus of the basal ganglia, and also it receives the fibers from the hypothalamus, and it gives efferent fibers to the prefrontal cortex on the medial surface. This area, whatever you see here, this is the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere. This is the medial frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex. So it gives efferent fibers to the medial frontal cortex, and the function of this nuclear is concerned with the mood of the person. That is the main function, mood of the person. This is about the dorsomedial nuclei. Now we come to the another nuclei, that is the ventral intermediate or ventral lateral nuclei. This one, whatever you see here, this is the brick red color, ventral intermediate or ventral lateral nuclei. So it receives fibers from the cerebellum, red nucleus, globus pallidus. So cerebellum means dentato-thalamic fibers, red nucleus from the midbrain, globus pallidus, part of the basal ganglia. So this nucleus receives fibers from the cerebellum, red nucleus, globus pallidus. The most important fibers are cerebellodentate fibers. These are very important fibers which are coming from the dentate nucleus of the cerebellum. These are the input fibers, and it gives rise to output fibers to the motor area, pre-central gyrus. You know that gyrus, motor area, primary motor area, that is called pre-central gyrus, area number 4 and 6, this area. And the main function of this nucleus is the motor skills, coordination movements in between the muscles at the joints. That means skillful movements of the joints or coordination of the movements. That is the function of this nucleus. This is the ventral intermediate or ventrolateral nucleus. Now we come to the remaining two, medial geniculate body, lateral geniculate body. You know it. These two are present below the pulvinar part, that means posterior end of the thalamus. Medial geniculate body receives the fibers from the auditory fibers, And lateral geniculate body, it receives the visual fibers that is concerned with the auditory pathway. This is concerned with the visual pathway. And these fibers from the medial geniculate body, efferent fibers, they reach the temporal gyre on the temporal lobe. Efferent fibers from the lateral geniculate body, they relay within the striate areas of the occipital lobe. So this one is concerned with the auditory pathway, medial geniculate body, and lateral geniculate body is concerned with the visual pathway. So this is about the main nuclei of the thalamus. So here number of nuclei are there, but I explain only 4 nuclei of the thalamus. These are very, very important. So those are, once again we see the 4 nuclear connections. I explain only 4. This is enough. If you want remaining nuclear connections, you go through your book. That one is the first one nucleus is the anterior nucleus. Connections of anterior nucleus. Okay. Input fibers from the mammillary body, hippocampal formation. Output fibers to the cingulate gyrus on the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere. Function concerned with the memory. So this is the concerned with the long-term permanent memory. So these all parts are connected with the one circuit. That circuit is called Papage circuit. So anterior nucleus is the part of the Papage circuit. So Papage circuit is also part of the limbic system. And second nucleus, that is the dorsomedial nucleus. A nuclei input fibers, efferent fibers from the hypothalamus and amygdala body. Then output fibers to the medial frontal cortex. The function of this nuclei, mood of the person or individual. And third nuclei, that is the ventro-intermediate or ventrolateral nucleus, very, very important nucleus concerned with the coordination movements, motor skills. This is fibers from the cerebellum. These fibers are named as dentatothalamic fibers, and also red nucleus from the midbrain, globus pallidus from the basal ganglia. Efferent fibers to the motor area, that is the precentral gyrus, primary motor area. So the function of this nucleus, motor skills. And in the fourth group, MCG and LCG. MCG is concerned with the auditory pathway. LCG is concerned with the visual pathway. You know it, input fibers from the auditory pathway and output fibers to the temporal lobe regarding the MCG. Regarding the LCG, input fibers from the visual pathway, output fibers to the striate areas of occipital lobe. So these are the important nuclei. So here in this slide, I mentioned the connections of the other nuclei. If you are interested and you go through these connections. Okay, are you following, all of you? All of you, are
Yes,
you following?
sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
So we completed the anatomy of the thalamus. Once again, I simply revise the anatomy of the thalamus. After that, we see the blood supply and clinical anatomy of the thalamus. So already I told you in the introduction, part of the diencephalon. This is also called dorsal thalamus ovoid mass. So this is the relay stations for the all sensory modalities except which sensations? Can you hear me? Olfactory fibers, except olfactory fibers. Very good. So this, now we come to the parts of the thalamus. What are the parts of the thalamus? Can you hear me? Can you name the parts of the thalamus?
Anterior tubercle and
Four surfaces, like a
posterior
cube.
medial.
Medial surface.
sir.
Okay. So 2 ends, 4 surfaces. In this picture, you see the 2 ends. This is the anterior end. This one is the posterior end. So anterior end is called posterior tubercle. Sorry, anterior tubercle, and posterior end is the expanded part, and overhangs on the geniculate bodies. This is named as, what name is given for posterior end? Pulvinar. Very good. Okay. See, posterior end is called pulvinar. In this picture, we can see. So this is the coronal section through the thalamus. We can see the 4 surfaces. What is the surface? Can you name related to lateral ventricle?
Superior surface.
Superior surface. Related to medial ventricle, medial surface. Related to the subthalamus, inferior surface. Related to the internal capsule, lateral surface. You got my point? So,
Yes, sir.
how many surfaces? 4. Superior, inferior, medial, lateral. Lateral. And superior surface related to ventricle, lateral ventricle. Medial surface related to third ventricle. Okay. And in this picture, you can see the relations. Already I told you, relations of the thalamus. And right and left thalami both are interconnected through the fibers. And this is the cross section of those fibers. This is called interthalamic adhesion. And these fibers are passing across the third ventricle. Then this dotted yellow color line indicates the hypothalamic sulcus, which divides the thalamus from the hypothalamus. Then nuclei of the thalamus. So nuclei of the thalamus are arranged as how many groups? Nuclei of the thalamus arranged as how many groups?
Three
Groups. Can you name them?
Anterior, medial, lateral.
Medial, lateral. Lateral divides into 2 subdivisions. What are the 2 subdivisions?
Ventral and dorsal.
Ventral and dorsal.
Ventral,
And dorsal. Very good. Under the ventral, these are the subnuclei. Ventral anterior, VA. Ventral lateral or ventral
ventral,
intermediate.
lateral,
Okay, second.
ventral,
And VPM, ventral posterior, medial. Ventral posterior, lateral.
posterior, lateral.
So in this, we are explained about the connections of the VL. In this group, we are explained about the connections of the VL. And the dorsal group, lateral dorsal, lateral posterior, pulvinar, below the pulvinar,
medial
bodies. So,
geniculate.
and lateral geniculate bodies. Very good. So these are the nuclei of the thalamus. So out of all these nuclei, I explained the only connections of the 4 groups or 4 nuclei only. One is the anterior nucleus. Second, dorsomedial or medial nuclei. Second. Third, VL, ventral lateral nucleus. Third, fourth one, geniculate body. So I explained the anterior, medial, VL, MGB and LGB nuclei connections only. So usually these are the other nuclei present in the thalamus, you know it. So connections, it has 2 types of connections. Connections with the cerebellum, connections with the cerebrum, other cortical areas, and connection in between the interthalamic nuclei, between the nuclei of the thalamus. 2 types of connections. So now we see the 4 nuclei connections one by one. First, ventral nucleus, that is called anterior nucleus. Whatever you see here, this one is the anterior nucleus. So it receives input fibers from mammillary body, hippocampal formation. Output fibers to the which gyrus? Output fibers to the which gyrus? Cingulate
Gyrus.
above the corpus callosum. Whatever I am showing here, this is the cingulate gyrus above the corpus callosum. The function of this nucleus, memory. This is the concern with the permanent long-term memory. Permanent long-term memory. So these all are interconnected to form the one circuit. That circuit is called,
Pape
what is that
circuit.
circuit?
Pape circuit.
Pape circuit.
Circuit.
Very good. Pape circuit, part of the limbic system. Short notes question. Now another nuclei, dorsomedian nuclei, yellow color. Here you see, and input fibers from the hypothalamus and amygdaloid nucleus, output fibers to the prefrontal cortex on the medial surface, prefrontal cortex, output fibers, and function, mood of the individual person. That is the function of this nucleus. Second one. And third one, VL or VI, ventral intermediate or ventrolateral. This arrow is showing here, brick red color. Receives input fibers from the cerebellum, red nucleus, globus pallidus means basal ganglia. So mainly important fibers from the cerebellum, and output fibers to the primary motor area of the cerebral hemisphere, this one, in front of the central sulcus, primary motor area, and function, motor skills, motor activities or motor functions of the body. That is the function of this nucleus. Third and last one, fourth group, MCG and LCG, medial geniculate body and lateral geniculate body. If you see this, medial geniculate body is concerned with the auditory pathway. These fibers are relay within the temporal gyrus. Lateral geniculate body concerned with visual pathway, and fibers from this one, they relay within the striate area of the occipital lobe. These are the fourth group. And in these slides, next coming 2 slides, I mentioned the connections of the other nuclei. If you are interested, you go through the remaining connections. Okay. Now we come to the blood supply of the thalamus. So what is the blood supply of the thalamus? Already you studied the blood supply of the brain. So what is the blood supply of the thalamus? From which arteries it is supplied? Can you hear my question? Hello? Are you
Yes,
hearing?
sir. Yes, sir.
So which arteries are supplying to thalamus? Usually thalamus is also supplied by diencephalon blood vessels. And what arteries are supplying to diencephalon? That means diencephalon is submerged or buried within the white matter of the cerebral hemisphere. Usually white matter of the cerebral hemisphere, is supplied by the which branches of the circle of Willis? Cortical branches or striate branches? Striate branches. These striate branches are coming from the following arteries: posterior communicating artery, anterior and posterior choroid arteries, and lateral striate branches from the middle cerebral artery. So you see this picture, this is the circle of Willis. Simply I say blood supply of the diencephalon. That means because thalamus is also part of the diencephalon. Usually diencephalon is supplied by the striate arteries. In the circle of Willis, inside you see the number of unnamed branches. These are the striate arteries. Okay. Usually these are branches of cerebral arteries, posterior cerebral artery and anterior middle cerebral artery, communicating branches, and also choroid branches. So these are the branches. So this is the blood supply of the thalamus. In this picture, whatever you see, this part is the thalamus. You see the blood supply of the thalamus from the cerebral artery. You see here, from the cerebral artery, you can see the blood supply. Okay. Now we come to the lesions of the thalamus. So lesions of the thalamus that lead to only one main important syndrome. That syndrome is called thalamic syndrome. So what are the clinical manifestations of thalamic syndrome? You see here, first point here, all somatic sensations are diminished. On the contralateral side, threshold for the pain and temperatures are raised. Hemiplegia, hemiparesis, and hyperesthesia. These are the conditions of the thalamic syndrome. Simply, I told you, this is the head ganglion of the sensory fibers. So first, if thalamus is involved in the lesion, that leads to first loss of somatic sensations. 1. The two which side? Contralateral side. The two opposite side, contralateral side. And also it is responsible for the hemiplegia. So this is the first symptom of the thalamic syndrome. In next symptom, thalamic phantom limb. This condition is called thalamic phantom limb. You see in the next slide what is the thalamic phantom syndrome. And third one, thalamic hand. These are the features of the thalamic hand, clinical features of the thalamic hand. So usually opposite hand is involved, forearm is pronated, okay, wrist is flexed, metacarpophalangeal joints are flexed, and interphalangeal joints are extended. So these are the symptoms of thalamic hand. And fourth clinical manifestation, very, very important, loss of memory. Already I told you regarding the anterior nucleus that is forms the Fabry circuit. The function of Fabry circuit is concerned with the memory, long-term memory. So if thalamus is involved, that leads to loss of memory, loss of recent memory. So these are the 4 clinical manifestations of thalamic syndrome. In first point, loss of somatic sensations with hemiplegia. Second, thalamic phantom limb. Third, thalamic hand. Fourth, loss of memory. So in next slides, we see some pictures of these clinical manifestations. See this picture. What you can observe this picture? Thalamic phantom limb. That means we feel the sensation of the body part which does not exist in our body. For example, if you remove any part of the limb during accidental condition due to other reasons, if you remove any part of the limb, after removal also we can feel that part of the removed part of the limb as they persist in our body, and also we can feel the sensations from that removed part of the body. That condition is called thalamic phantom limb. అంటే మనకు లేనటువంటి లింబు నుంచి మనం ఉన్నట్లుగా సెన్సేషన్ ఫీల్ అవడం అది ఉన్నట్లుగా దాన్ని థలామిక్ పాంటమ్ లింబ్ అంటారు. కొద్దిగా మనం చూసుకోండి హైపోథెటికల్, మనకు లేనిది ఉన్నట్టుగా ఫీల్ అవడం. దట్ కండిషన్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ థలామిక్ పాంటమ్ లింబ్. And second condition, hemiplegia, you know it, paralysis of the half of the body, which side? Contralateral. Whatever you see lesions in the thalamus, that affects on the opposite side, contralateral effects, like the cerebrum, contralateral effects. So in this condition, this person is unable to walk properly. So half of the body is paralyzed. This condition is called hemiplegia. And next one, thalamic hand. So in thalamic hand, forearm is pronator, extended wrist joint, and flexion of metacarpophalangeal joints, extension of interphalangeal joints. So this condition is called thalamic hand. So these are the 4 clinical manifestations of thalamic syndrome. One is sensation of the loss of the somatic sensations. Next to hemiplegia, thalamic phantom limb, thalamic hand. The most important, loss of memory. So thalamic phantom, already I told you, we can feel the sensation from the removed part of our body. That condition is called thalamic phantom. మనకి రిమూవ్ చేసినటువంటి పార్ట్ నుంచి సెన్సేషన్ ఉన్నట్లుగా ఫీల్ అవడం. That is condition thalamic phantom limb. And half of the body is paralyzed. This condition is hemiplegia. Then this condition is the thalamic hand. So this is about the thalamus. So out of all these things, this is very, very important in physiology. As per anatomic concern, we ask the divisions of nuclei of thalamus, Fabry circuit, and thalamic syndrome. These are the short notes questions, very, very important. So this is about the thalamus And epithalamus is formed by mainly pineal body and the habenular nuclei. Those forms the epithalamus. So do you have any doubts regarding the thalamus? Can you hear
No,
me?
sir.
Do you have any doubts? No.
No, sir.
No,
What
sir.
is another name for thalamus? What is another name for thalamus?
Dorsal thalamus.
Thalamus.
Very good. Dorsal thalamus. Is another name for the dorsal thalamus. In Papich circuits, nucleus is involved. Which thalamic nucleus is involved?
Anterior.
Anterior.
Anterior. Yes, very good. Cerebellothalamic fibers relay within the which nucleus of the thalamus?
Ventrolateral.
Ventrolateral nucleus. Medial. Ventrolateral.
Only ventrolateral or ventrolateral. What are the other
Intermediate.
fibers within the ventrolateral nucleus? What are the other fibers? Fibers from red
Red
nucleus.
nucleus. Red nucleus and global
Very good. So medial geniculate body is concerned with visual pathway or auditory pathway?
Auditory.
Auditory pathway. Very good. That concerned with auditory pathway. So thalamus or diencephalon mainly supplied by the which branches of the circle of Willis?
Straight branches.
Right branch.
Very good. White matter of the cerebrum is usually supplied by striate branches. Next. Then what is the thalamic quantum limb?
We can
thalamic
feel
quantum
with
limb?
Feeling sensations from the remote
part of the body. Part of the body. We can feel that.
Remote part of the body. That part is usually doesn't exist in our body. For example, in accidental condition, due to some reasons, if you remove the forehand of the right limb, so after removal of that forehand, if you feel the any pain sensation, that removed part of the forehand అంటే లేనిది ఉన్నట్లు ఊహించుకుని పెయిన్ కనుక ఫీల్ అయితే that condition is called phantom. Okay, thalamic phantom limb. Is it clear? That's one. Next, what is another clinical manifestation of the thalamic syndrome? Half of the body is paralyzed. What is that condition?
hemiplegia.
Hemiplegia. What is the main function of? What is the main function we lost in thalamic lesion? What is the main function? The connection with the limb.
Loss of memory.
Memory.
Of somatic sensation of contralateral side.
Then last another clinical manifestation, thalamic hand. Thalamic hand. How many surfaces are present for thalamus?
Four surfaces. Superior, inferior, medial, lateral.
Superior
So
and
medial
lateral.
surface is related to which ventricle? Medial surface is related to which ventricle?
Third ventricle.
Third ventricle.
Third ventricle. Medial surface is related to third ventricle.
Third.
That's enough. So this is about the thalamus. Okay. Shall I end the session?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hilda.